So first, let me say this. You mentioned, marketing chiropractic to other people. I would rather say we are seeding and planting seeds. Truly, it is a calling, and I don't even call it a profession. I call it a vocation. So it's about, creating an awareness for people that are called to do this. So you asked me about my background. I was born and raised in Paris, France. I went to medical school for 2 years, René Descartes Medical University. And then I spent a year in a hospital, which was a cancer service, what we call a pilot hospital, where they were doing experimental cancer treatment on ear, nose, throat, and stomatology, which is the jaw and obviously ear, nose, throat. So that was my background. And then during that time, I loved to race motorcycle. Like amateur racing. So I was racing motorcycle, and on one of the races, I crashed on the track. And as a result of it, I started to have chronic migraine headaches and loss of sensation on the right side of my body. So I never knew about chiropractic. I never heard anything about it. There was, I think at the time, 90 chiropractors for a population of 55 million people in Paris. That was 1973. So I never heard of it. My parents never heard of it. And someone told my mother, listen, it sounded like he had a traumatic injury, sliding on the track and hitting the embankment, with the helmet and the jolt that it created. He probably had a spinal injury. And I recommend he go see a doctor of chiropractic. They are specialists from America that specialize in the nerve and spine. So that's how I ended up in a chiropractor's office. This man had so much passion, so much love, so much charisma. And also he presented a paradigm for life, for health, for healing that was so different than the life and the world that I was living in, that I was studying. Symptoms, sickness, disease, pathology, morbidity. That's the expertise of medicine. But chiropractic is really about life, about health, about healing, about well-being, and about wellness. So it's a completely different paradigm, a completely different profession. It has nothing to do with medicine, the same way that an electrician has nothing to do with a plumber. So it is that's separate and distinct. That being said, I want to make sure that anybody listening does not misconstrue what I'm talking about. We are not opposed to medicine. There is a time and place for medicine, the same way that there is a time and place for chiropractic. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Absolutely. So can you tell me about that experience when you went to that chiropractor in France, and what was different about the experience that really turned a light bulb on for you and let you know that, hey, this is a completely different way of thinking clinically or just meeting people where they're at in that practice? Can you talk a little bit about that experience and what it was that was interesting about it?
When I first arrived in his office on my first visit, there must have been 20 or 30 people in the waiting room. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a really long wait. And then within 20 minutes to half an hour, everybody was gone. And so I was introduced into his office as a new person, a new patient. And I dispensed to him my symptomatology, what was going on with me. Obviously, I was a medical student, so I was very inflated at the time with my verbalization and the way that I expressed myself medically to impress him. He was a specialist from America, I was like, man, this is somebody. And he listened very intently. He didn't say a word, and he totally connected with me. And when I was done, he looked straight into my eyes. Actually, he looked straight into my soul. And he says, there is nothing that I can do with what's wrong with you. What I can do, however, is address what is right in you. You cannot fight darkness, you must turn on the light. You cannot fight disease, you must turn on life. And that was the totality of his communication. And in that moment, light bulb went off in my head, because it was such a departure from the world that I was studying and living in. So it was a breath of fresh air. It was a very new idea, a new paradigm, a new worldview in many ways. So I received care from him, and it took a while, but my symptom disappeared. But the most important thing is that I grew a relationship with him, a friendship with him, and then he started to really convey to me what chiropractic was about. And one of the things that struck me, I remember vividly, he said chiropractic is like the Jean-Jacques Cousteau Society of the internal environment. We revere and honor the sanctity of the human body. We revere and honor the sanctity of the human blood. And we really are about inner ecology. So that alone was a great opening of my mind, and it became fascinating. And then he started to share the principle and the laws of life and the philosophy of chiropractic. And I was taken. I was completely taken, and I decided to become a chiropractor. And that fall, I left France, Paris, France, to go to Spartanburg, South Carolina, to go to Sherman College of Chiropractic, which was proclaimed to be at the time the very best chiropractic college in the world. And I was absolutely thrilled to go there. And that's how my chiropractic career started.